because I have it muted. Is there like an echo? Is there an echo on your okay. Hey. Okay. Um okay, so are you able to okay. So the way the audio was set up, they can hear you on Twitch and they should also be able to hear you on Discord too. So um okay. So for those who are new, this is a concept art stream for the video games that me and Moth and the other devs work on. Um, the game that we'll be focusing on is EOTW, which unabbreviated is elements of the world. So if you can see right here, we're picking out where we okay. Um okay. So we are picking up where we left off from last stream, but I'll give anybody who's new here a recap. So in the beginning, there were these creator giants. The creator giants, they created the universe of EOTW. Um, and in their earliest form, they were nebulous. They didn't have a what we might call as uh, a human form. So I guess I'll give you a picture. Um, so the creator giant. And there were only two. There was a father creator giant and a mother creator giant, each with their own specialties, powers, and abilities. Uh, sorry if my drawing's not great. Mouse, are you not mouse, moth, are you a little bit familiar with the story? Like the beginning with the giant and the three progeny. Yeah. Yes. And the three progeny, they're known as mouse, which in the future is later referred to as Nezumi, um, revenge, and lawyer. And we'll kind of spell them out so that way they can get an idea. What color should I use for Nezumi? Purple? Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. And let me skip to that part of the story. Okay. So, chapter 2, The Children. We'll pick up where it says the two creator giants felt a love so unwavering and bound that it rivaled the the creation of all existence. Their love would soon become creations and alive. The first creation of their love, a female. She was tranquil, illustrious, in the beginning that would create the end. She was Mouth. Or you can refer to her as Nezumi. Um, but in the beginning, she was known as Mouth. Although humble in her character, was a force to be reckoned with. The creator giants, their love had created a flower, a blossom, a bloom that would outgrow their own creator, their own creators. So Mouse, she was very strong, very humble, and that strength came with time. Do you want to add anything, Moth, to that description? All right. Uh, and if you guys have any questions, you guys can ask. I'll check chat here really quick. Okay. There we go. Sorry, I wanted to give Mouse some hair. Okay. So the next child that they had, his name was Lawyer. And we're going to move. Right. Where it says, at this point in time, the universe and many more had felt the weight of both of these entities. His name was Lawyer, the first male from the creation of the creator giant's love. He was sword sharp, carried the weight of the ocean's depths, and the middle that would reach the highest point of peak and bounce. Lawyer was known as the strongest in creation that would be alongside his sister, Mouse. And he wasn't just a force of nature. He was a force to be reckoned with. And we'll give you a picture to go with that. I think I'm going to go with blue. Like a navy blue. Moth, is it clear on your side in Discord? Okay, because I just want to make sure. Because I was having some issues with that the other day. I don't know why I made his head so big. Say it again. I didn't hear you. Okay, that should work. Okay, so for the third child, Revenge. When the creator giants created him, he was more like the how the creator giants were before they had a physical form. So I'm gonna kind of scroll here. Um, I guess to give you some backstory. So there was a third. After the two creator giants had been brought into this world, they realized this one was not like the other. Where Mouse was humble, tranquil, and illustrious, and Lawyer was sharp, heavily grounded, and full of capacity. This one was neither and both simultaneously. This third almost tore the universe apart upon its life entering the space and and cultivated by the creator giants. Like Lawyer, he was male. Unlike Lawyer, he was tempestuous, writhing, and nebulous. Like Mouse, he was flowering, blossoming, and blooming. Unlike Mouse, his capabilities exceeded even those of the creator giant. The ones that brought this entity into this world. He was revenge. He was a spectacle for all existence, challenging the very structure of the universe to the point of rupture. In his early year, in his early years, he often favored the state of the giants prior to their stable and contained anatomies. Even now, the giants still have retained their old spacious bodies, but revenge retained all. So to give you a kind of picture of what revenge is like, he challenged everything. What color should I do revenge? Moth. I was thinking red, but because I did purple for Nizumi. I could do mm, I could do black, but um I'll just go green. I think that's like or yellow. I think that's like a good color scheme. Purple, blue, yellow. I don't know. I just hope that they can see it. Okay, that's a dark yellow. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Wait, were you talking to me? Say it again. I'm sorry. I was focused. How many elements are we are we allowed to have? Up to 9. Actually, no, up to 10. Up to 10. Yeah. Well, for revenge, when I did the color wheel element, I I was gonna do 10, but I couldn't figure out what I was gonna do for the 10th one because I did the Roy G bit. I did red for one, and then all the way to like black and white, and I think that was 9 colors, so 9 attack. And huh, I only did 9. I only did 9 for revenge because I couldn't figure out. I was gonna do gray, but I was like, I think I want gray to be like a state rather than an attack. So, because it's like the neutral, and when people think gray, they think like, oh, very like calm, very content, very stable. So I was like, well, revenge color wheel gray could be like, his base state when he's not um using the color wheel. So, but uh yeah, you can have up to like 10 attacks if you want. Um More on that though. We'll dive into each. Hold on, let me change this to like we'll dive into each of their capabilities. Okay. Mm. So you'll notice there's like gas coming out of, or like clouds around Revenge's body. It's to kind of give you a visual of what he was like in his early stages, like as a kid, an early teen. He didn't really he didn't really get a solid form like Lawyer or Nezumi until like far later when he's already, experienced the world and had his first conflicts. So, do you guys have any questions? Oh, you were saying orange. Oh, I could have did orange. I could have did orange. Um, oof, it's hot in here. Okay. So this kind of gives you a. How do I zoom out? Okay. Oh, that's too bad. Okay. Can y'all see this? Is this, or is it too small? Like, is it clear, or should I make it a little bit bigger? I'm gonna zoom in. Wait, okay. Okay, so this kind of gives you a visual that the story tells. Next stream, I'm gonna have some art that really goes into detail of like what they look like, their capability, their capabilities, and it shows it. Um, but this is just a simple design, kind of showing you what these characters look like as a young age, at a young age. Mm, I'll create a new one. Okay, so their capabilities. Let me go back to the story. And if you kind of see like the date, you can kind of see this story takes place like years ago. Um like Revenge, he was born 4500. Lawyer was, I don't remember what lawyer was. Hold on. Lawyer was 310, 3000. And then Mouse was, being the first child, was 10 5 1500. So they were all born like 1500 years apart. I know that sounds like a lot, but in this universe, in this universe, a lot of people like live for a very long time. So, um, okay, here. So it says their abilities, their powers, their elements, their utilities, and their potential would break the fabric and threads of reality. Mouse, Revenge, and Lawyer were unique, each with their own capabilities. These capabilities would create tensions, shifts, conflicts, and even disturbances in the natural order of things. Mouse was close to the father creator giant, learning in the ways of elements, abilities, and influence of the ground. So what that means is like any land-based creature, any land-based creatures or like elemental entity, Mouse had some influence over. Whereas Lawyer, on the other hand, Lawyer stayed close to the mother creator giant, obtaining knowledge and understanding of powers, utilities, and influence of the sky. So lawyer, he was more like anything that could fly or like spatial anomalies or entities. Lawyer had some influence over it, and it also shows in his powers or his element. Whereas revenge, being the anomaly of the three, he was free like the influence of the sky, but enjoyed the world of the ground dwellers. Because his being was nebulous, he often had trouble deciding who would be his guide. He never had one, and only learned from testing, following, watching, and experimenting. And this kind of piggybacks off what I said earlier. His form never really became fixed until that fateful day. And even then, on that fateful day, he was still kind of like nebulous, kind of like free. Um, it's more of the conflicts after that kind of shape him into a physical form and allows him to kind of figure out what he wants to look like. Uh, and we'll kind of dive into that fateful day because that kind of gives an idea of what their capabilities are. Um, so I guess I could do it in red because that's kind of like the color associated. Um, what color? Okay, so blue and orange. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get the colors together. uh, okay. How should I draw that? How should I draw this? Because at the time, Nizumi was talking to the father crater giant, and hmm, okay, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think how I should draw this. Okay, 'cause I don't know what angle I should do. I should do it at. Okay, I think I know what. Well, I mean, we could use it. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let me. We're gonna use black for a second because I need to draw the cliff. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna scroll a little bit down because I think this is right where that fateful day is. Mm, right here. Okay. Mm, well, this is a long part. Hold on. I guess I could go ahead and read it. Okay, so here. A day not far from calamity. The family had been cultivating the garden around the house. The father watched as the world grew and what it became. The mother is nourishing and taking care of the life within the plants. Mouse stood with her father, wondering what he was looking at, often seeing how his movement slowed from the first time she noticed. So this is around the time when the creator giants. I mean, they might seem like they're. I don't think it's omnipotent. Do you know what it's called when you like? No, immortal. I found it. Okay, they might seem like they're immortal, but at some point they come to an end. Um, and this is kind of where Mouse is noticing, like, hey, like my parents are like getting older. Like they're like this is the moment where me and my two other brothers are gonna have to experience the world on our own. And so we can give you a visual. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in. Okay. Okay. I might need a different color. And the reason this is happening is because, like Revenge, how he was born just fully nebulous. Nebulous. The creator giant's solid form is not necessarily their natural form. It's just a form they took so that way life could exist. But eventually they return to that nebulous state, and you'll kind of see it in this next few moments. And right here, it kind of shows cracks in their physical body. Because at this point in time, the universe is a little bit unstable because of the 3 children being born and creating so much pressure. So, it's okay. Um, yeah. And here you can kind of see, you'll kind of hear me use mouse and Nezumi interchangeably, but I'm talking about the same person. But you can see here, Nezumi is wondering like, what is going on? My dad. Um, okay, so there are some questions here. Is their true form incomprehensible to other life form, perhaps? Mm, that's a good one. Yes. So to the lesser life forms, and we might get into it, I'm not sure. But if we don't get into this stream, we'll definitely get into it next stream. Um, they okay, looking at them, it it wouldn't blow their mind, but to the lesser life form, they might not know how to take in all of the creator giants' greatness and like awe and all this. And so, yeah. Well, that's a good question though. Yeah, keep them coming. What do you think about that, Moth? So somebody asked on Twitch, is their true form incomprehensible to other life forms, perhaps? Yeah. Yeah, because I think for like the children like us, we we it probably wouldn't bother. It probably wouldn't bother them. But like, for example, there's a species, there's a group of humans called Norforms, and I'll kind of type that in chat so you can kind of see how it's spelled because I know I butchered that. And they don't have any elemental or like they're like more human than anything else, but they use like elemental weapons, um, gadgets that are like imbued with like certain properties that elements have. Um, they're like the humans in ELTW. So, like to them, the creator giants might be like incomprehensible, but yeah, or I just had it. What do you call it? What do you call Cthulhu? Yeah, it would be like if we were to look at like I don't know if you know, but Eldritch horror, and like your mind just can't wrap your head around it. So, um, but like I said, to the three children, huh? But yeah, it it depends. So, but that was a good question though. Yeah, keep them coming. Um, where were we? And then here, while Mouse is kind of noticing that there's something going on with her father. Her father says to her, "One day, I will not be around to see you all grow. Becoming the best that you can be. The ground will take me, and I will become one with the ground. The lands will continue to expand." And when Mouse heard that, she just kind of was really worried. And in retort, she says, "Don't say that. You're here with us now, in the current time. Why do you worry about what is coming later in the future?" And the creator father giant says in return, "I don't worry, I am informed. I only inform my children to keep them well aware of the things that will come. As I am one of the creators, I too will reach my end. It's only a matter of time till you all will become the leaders of the world, the new creator." And in that moment is when things just go south. So, and this is foreshadowing that faithful day between Revenge and Lawyer. Oh, why? Okay. Okay. We can do. Okay. Okay, I think that works. Uh, Orange was a good choice because it's complementary to blue. So in this like moment, it works. That arm is really big. Mm, okay, that came out a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. Cause I don't know what I was doing here. Uh, okay, I think that I think that works. Okay. Okay, you might be thinking, why is lawyer's head on fire? Well, it's because of revenge. And they were playing this game. It was like it's like tag, but an older version. So I gave it a name in the story. You can see here. In a field of wildflowers, Revenge and Lawyer are playing a game of predator and prey. One as old as history itself. better known by the name of tag. Just a simple game of tag. You might be thinking, how in the world were they playing tag? And Lawyer's head caught fire. We're about to see. Lawyer starts the game as the predator, and Revenge starts the game as prey. At this point in time, Revenge is still figuring out what kind of form he will take. Now kind of focus on that one detail, because that is gonna like be the key to all of his like future conflict. Not Revenge. Lawyer, who had learned from his mother the utilities, the powers, and the influence of the sky. Revenge was fast, swift, and ever shifting in his strategy. It often made Lawyer disoriented. Lawyer, precise, depth driven, and capable of often overpowering Revenge. Eventually, Lawyer caught Revenge, and their roles swapped. Lawyer had become the prey of the being that almost broke reality itself. When Lawyer was a predator, he was a bit rough with Revenge. But Revenge didn't mind. He didn't really think much about it. I mean, they're like, I think at this point, Revenge is like 4,000 years old, which is like 4 years old. And uh Lawyer is like, sorry, I'm trying to do some math. 19. I think that's right. Yeah. And Lawyer's like 19. Sorry. I lost my train. Okay. He just thought it was a part of the game they played. However, he wanted to return the same favor. Lawyer began to use his tactics to evade revenge his captor. Revenge was confusing, all over the place, and often used some of the same strategy that Lawyer used to tag him. In the heat of the game, the literal heat, Revenge finally caught Lawyer in a bad area. With his mostly gaseous and free form, he rushed at Revenge so quickly. He rushed at Lawyer so quickly. He caught fire and set Lawyer's visions ablaze. So in that little game that Revenge and Lawyer had, it scarred Lawyer so bad that not even the Mother Creator Giant can heal it. So we'll just kind of okay. See any questions? Okay. Are their physical forms closer to humans or golem? Um, what do you think about this, Moth? Are their physical forms are their physical forms closer to humans or golem? That's what I was thinking, but I was like, I'm not sure. Yeah, 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 pretty much. I just think it's crazy. I just think it's crazy. A game of tag turned into something so serious. Serious. Okay. The crash was so loud it shook the world and sent shockwaves through reality. Revenge finally said, not knowing what he just did. Tag, you're it. And I said, this is young revenge. Like I said, to give you a reference of how old he is, he's like around 4 years old. So he doesn't really know exactly like what he was capable of. So, but yeah. Uh, Lawyer, on the other hand, is in so much pain. He wailed so loud it shook the structure of space time, which you can kind of see how strong they are, even by just like doing human stuff, like running around, playing tag, um, even just breathing. And it also shows it also shows in their capability. So, um, I'm trying to figure out what I want to pick out. And one thing that gets me is Mouse's reaction to all of this. She is more confused than astonished or worried. I guess she's just wondering what happened. What do you think about what do you think about that, Moth? About about that whole interaction. The game of predator and prey. Mouse's reaction to it all. It's okay, take your time. Do you have the or can you see the story in my screen? I don't know if that'll help. Moth, did you hear me? Or is it clear? Okay. Oh, you might have to like full screen it because I know on the regular screen it's not clear. Yeah. Yeah. I think I would probably have the same reaction. Um, because yeah. But the mother giant, she took some water from a nearby river and she did her best to flush the fires out of Lawyer's eyes. The water had a healing property that could remove all wounds, but Revenge's flame didn't just burn his eye. They left a mark so deep in Lawyer's being that it just couldn't be removed. Um, and you'll kind of see that in his character design, that that scar across his eyes. I mean, his vision returns. His vision returns, but it'll always that mark will always be there, and it'll always be like a reminder of that first game that they had together that just went south. Are there any questions? Okay. No. And Revenge didn't realize he did it and didn't realize what his capabilities were. And as a result, he runs away. So in this panel, um, Wait, maybe I should make that a different color. So he runs away and he goes to this place. And this place kind of shows him how do I want to word this? It it holds up a mirror to revenge that there are beings out there who have capability similar to revenge, but how do I word this? They have a sense of control over it. And you'll kind of, I don't know how to explain it. The more we talk about this, you'll see that there are other beings that have capabilities to the ones that revenge kind of ran away to. But they don't have a control over it. And so that also holds up a mirror to revenge. And he learns a sense of how to control it. So it's supposed to be like a mushroom cloud. That's not supposed to be a tree. Okay. And eventually, revenge comes back. He's just gone. I guess to the point where like not even the creator giants can sense him. So, and we'll kind of skip to that. And this is when the mother giant finds him. So it's a year later. The mother giant had been tending to the garden and helping the different flowers to flourish. In the distance, what looked like a solid figure had been coming toward her. The mother giant had sensed her son before he came into view. It was revenge, but he looked different. He wasn't nebulous. He wasn't blooming. He was a different person from the one that had been playing with Lawyer that day. And upon seeing this, the mother giant's probably like, oh my gosh, what happened to my son? While he was like gone. But this kind of new semi fixed state that revenge takes on in the long run, like I said, kind of helps him figures out uh who he wants to be and how to control that fire. And not just specifically fire, because if you had heard me talking with Moth earlier, he has his element is known as the color wheel element. So I'll give you a picture. Sorry, that was my chair. I guess we can. So Ravan, he has how do I want to draw him? Oh wait, that was bad. Okay. And so you can see now he has more of a solid body with like patches here and there of like nebulousness. So but one of his capabilities, sorry, one of his capabilities is, I wonder what color I'm going to use for this. I guess we can do red. Let's do pink. Is his color wheel. So I'm trying to figure out how to cut this pie. Red, orange. key lime pie, sweet potato pie. Um, I can't think of anything. Blueberry pie, apple pie. So, color wheel, no. Pie wheel, um, blue. I don't know. But that would be like a really like cool variant though. Pie wheel. One, two. One, two, three, four. Okay, there we go. And so as like Revenge understands his capabilities, he starts to notice that there's like this floating color wheel behind him. And that is just a representation of what he's capable of doing. Did anybody have any questions? No? Okay. Just making sure. Any questions on Discord? No. Okay. But yeah, one of the attacks that Revenge and his color wheel are capable of doing, and that he kind of he doesn't really learn to control until like far later in the story. But he names it Raging Firestorm. And so and he assigns that to the red part of the color wheel because, you know, red, a lot of people associate red with like fire and passion and like heat. So that is one of the that and the 8 other forms that the clue can take, he kind of has to learn and adapt and not just how do I word this? Not just blow everything up, if that makes sense. There's an instance where he uses it again, and it's just out of pure fear of his sibling. And we can skip to that part really quick. I don't know if it's chapter 4 or if it's 5. Um, and so at this point, Revenge, he's back. There's still some awkwardness between, him and his sibling, Mouse, lawyer. Um, and then comes the next fateful day, where it was foreshadowed, but they never actually said when. And that's when the creator giants, they're gone. Um, at the time, Revenge and Lawyer were asleep. Mouse could she was semi-asleep. And I guess she kind of knew that it was close, that day was closed, but she didn't exactly know when. And here, you can kind of see what happened. Um, the land opened up before before the father giant, and swallowed him up. In his state, he wouldn't have been able to save himself. Therefore, he accepted his fate. He accepted the fate he foresaw years prior. The mother giant, in her barely fixed state, her very gaseous state, felt the same, and released the form she had once had. Wait. Yeah, and released the form she had once had when the creator giants were created. And Mouse woke up, being awake during the whole thing, kind of traumatized her. And she went to go wake up Lawyer and Revenge, and they couldn't believe it either. And so it was just them three, and they had to face the world with what they had learned in their earlier years. And so, and this is kind of where chapter 4 began. So, I mentioned the norm forms earlier. And these are kind of the first group of people that uh, what's my train of thought? But these are kind of the first group of people that the three children, you'll kind of hear me call them the progeny. Progeny is just another way of saying gifted, um, basically gifted children. Um, yeah, and they kind of had a large influence on the norm forms, and how they um, built their society. They were often worships, um, and they even help norm forms with things that they couldn't do on their own. So, um, oh, how do I? Okay. So you'll see here where it says, oh, I may have just. Yeah. The ones that couldn't use the giants' abilities, powers, and elements, but were somehow able to use the giant's utility, became known as normform. There's also another group. I don't. I guess I'll give y'all a picture. Hold on. I need like a gray. There we go. Okay. Okay, so norm form. Here. Okay. And so these are like the group that are kind of closest to what you would say human, although being, uh, descendants of giants. Um, there was another group. They're known as the elementalists. What color should I do for them? Moth or the elementalist? The elementalist. I did gray for the norm forms. Say it again. I guess I could do green. I don't think I did green. I think I did. Yeah, I haven't done green yet because I did. Yeah, I haven't done green yet. I can do green. We'll do like a light green. In this group, they were able to use. They were able to use the giants. Oh, let me not close that. Huh. They were able to use the giants' abilities, powers, elements, And so they kind of had how can I put this? An advantage over the norm forms. And so, but in the future, the norm forms find a way to catch up to the elementalists. Because for like the norm forms, they had a more vintage society. So like houses were made of a lot more natural materials, and um the elementalists, they used a lot of processed materials like metals, um even forms of plastic, um concrete, stuff like that to kind of modernize their society. So um we'll kind of go more into that next stream, and we'll also go into another one of the games that we are working on. Um does anybody Are there any questions in chat? Does anybody have any questions or any comments, or let me see. Let me check Discord. No. Um okay, what would be the main role for norm forms? So they kind of they give you an idea of what it's like to be born without those capabilities, but also being born with more human-like capabilities. So, one of the interactions that the revenge mouse lawyer has with these, and they have some good, some bad. I can kind of scroll. Is Code Oblivion. So Code Oblivion is this plan, this 500-year plan that the norm forms and the king of the norm forms take to take down the three progeny. And it almost works. Now, one thing that they didn't consider was like how nobody knew about Revenge is Fire. Um, Nobody knew that he was capable of doing that. The only beings that knew were his siblings. And so when they kind of go about code oblivion, um, they try to find everything out about these three entities, and they try to find their weaknesses, how to beat them. And like I said, it almost works. Um, it's just they didn't consider that one factor that, and the only reason they didn't win was because Revenge saw Nezumi, Mouse, in a situation that would hurt her. And it was caused by the norm form and the king. And he just wasn't having it. Ma, do you remember that situation? Yeah, that's yeah. I said like the norm forms, they I don't know how to put it. They're the most human out of all the, I guess you could say, species. Um, and and their capabilities, their capabilities show it. Like in between that and um the fight, they find this um material. It's called the Stone of Man, and basically it allows the norm form to imbue their weapon with elements. So they themselves can't use elements, but now not only can they build weapons, they can build elemental weapons. And so they just want to be able to keep up. Like they said, they live very vintage, very I wouldn't say Stone Age. I wouldn't say Stone Age. I would say more like post Stone Age. um but yeah, that's kind of their role. There is, and I don't want to kind of reveal too much, But is it sort of a gifted versus non-gifted setting? Um, what do you think about this mod? Is it sort of a gifted versus non-gifted setting? I think so. I think that's what she's asking. Yeah. Yeah, because you have the ones who can use all those capabilities. And it's really funny because elementalists they can build weapons. They can build weapons, but their norm forms would probably build, how do I say that word? Uh, More efficient, if that makes sense. Because they don't have that element factor added into um, their daily life. So it's a lot. Mm, it's a lot more trial and error with them as opposed to the elementalists because they have that elemental factor and they don't have to worry about, running out of materials and stuff like that. Considering the elementals can use abilities and norm forms cannot, if so, do elementals have natural magic or energy within them because of that? Yes. So, um, you'll kind of learn this as we reveal more of the story. Um, that elementalists they have a core. Norm forms they don't have a core, but um, with that core comes elemental capabilities. So um, yes, yes, in a sense, yeah, yeah. There is an instance that I kind of mentioned earlier, um, about that group of people that sorry, I lose my train of thought. That revenge runs off to and kind of learns to kind of uh control that fire. Um, there is a version of the elementalist where that core, if not, um, I don't know how to word this. If not, hmm, if not contained properly, we'll say that. Um, then they kind of lose themselves to the core, if that makes sense. I don't know if that uh, was the best explanation. So, but yeah, we'll dive more into that next stream, and it should be longer. It'll be next Saturday on the 28th, and it should be. I gotta figure out the time. The time. Um, but we'll definitely go more into that next stream, and then we'll also have more to kind of show off as well. So, um, this is where our stream come to come. This is where our stream comes to an end. I'm sorry, I'm tripping over my words. This is where our stream comes to an end. Um, we will be posting updates in our Discord. Um, we'll try to post some updates on our Instagram. But most of the updates will be in the Discord. Um, all right, and yeah. Thank you all for joining. Um, hold on. Thank you all for joining. Um, thank you, Moth, for participating. I really appreciate it. And yeah. Okay. Let me close. Wait, hold on. I gotta stop streaming. How do I do this? Okay. Controls.